Who's on the altar?
Travis Marshall.
Dexter, what the
If you are like most of us who were stuck at home during the height of the global health situation when nations all over the globe announced lockdowns that prevented people from doing their normal routine, you must have found yourself in front of your TV set, revisiting old favorites and perhaps discovering new ones. We all know that loving TV shows sometimes means suspending disbelief, but there are times when mistakes are just so blatant and loopholes are staring us right in the face that we just can't ignore them. If you spent a good amount of time watching numerous shows, you must have discovered storylines that just made no sense at all. We know we did. In the spirit of keeping times entertaining, let's round up the shows with storylines that did not make any sense. Here we go. Let's start with Deborah finding out that her stepbrother is a killer in Dexter and realizing that she had feelings for him. Dexter aired on Showtime from 2006 and ended in 2013. This American crime drama mystery television series centered on Dexter, a forensic technician with a specialty in bloodstain pattern analysis who also moonlights as a vigilante serial killer who is after murderers that have slipped through the cracks of the justice system. That about get it right? Deborah, Dexter's sister, did not know about his double life until the final episode of season 6 when she witnessed Dexter killing Travis Marshall. Not only did she get over her stepbrother being a serial killer, but she also confessed that she was in love with her stepbrother. Although they were just step-siblings in the show, it still felt weird and uncomfortable with tones of taboo sprinkled here and there. The confession was so out of the blue, and it didn't go anywhere either. The only thing it did was make viewers cringe. The lead actors were also still married to each other in real life at that time. Don't even get us started on the entire last season of Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time was an American fantasy adventure drama that ran for 7 seasons from 2011 to 2018. The show had 2 main settings, the fantasy world and a seaside town in Maine. The show follows a young woman named Emma who visits Storybrooke at her son's request, who also happens to believe that the residents are characters from various fairy tales. The series was a huge success, and before concluding in 2018, it lost much of its original cast. Emma Swan, the main character played by Jennifer Morrison, bowed out of the show in season 6. She had a final cameo in the finale and has since starred in various TV shows. Because the show lost most of its original characters, the last whole season of the series gave viewers an entirely new cast, which was not only unnecessary but also didn't make any sense from the other season. This is probably the reason why the show had to be canceled after the 8th season. Like, why would you introduce a whole new set of characters? Do you remember the Carver from Nip Tuck? Before Ryan Murphy delved into creepy things, he gave us a little glimpse of his dark side on the medical drama Nip Tuck. The show aired on FX for 6 seasons, and it depicted 2 plastic surgeons, Doctors Christian Troy and Sean McNamara, who shared a practice. It showcased the surgery of the weak nature of shows such as Grey's Anatomy, but also was not afraid to feature the darker side of plastic surgeries. Things started to get horrifying early in the 2nd season with the introduction of the Carver, a serial rapist who found release and fulfillment in disfiguring his victims. Instead of the ubiquitous breast implants, tummy tucks, and nose jobs, the surgeons soon found themselves inundated with victims who needed help repairing their brutal scars. The doctors decided to take it upon themselves and find the perpetrator, which led to Dr. Troy meeting the Carver himself in a very violent manner. The mystery wasn't resolved until the finale of season 3, when it was revealed that the Carver was their fellow plastic surgeon who got some help from his sister, who was also a member of the police force. If you ask us, the entire plot was full of ridiculous twists and red herrings. It was as if the writers were trying their hardest to make the mystery seem unsolvable. We just don't buy it. Then there was a time when Quinn got into a car accident and ended up in a wheelchair on Glee. Everyone's favorite musical television show provided us with unforgettable mashups, endless catfights, and brought back memories of our high school lives, although the characters looked like they were older than high school students. Like a public service announcement for teenagers driving everywhere, they showed Quinn, one of the lead characters, texting while driving and getting herself into a car crash. Quinn didn't exactly escape unscathed. She ended up in a wheelchair due to a compression of the spine, which left her without any feeling in her legs. They had her character go through physical therapy with one of the other characters. Then by nationals, she was miraculously up there dancing as if nothing happened, which was ridiculous in so many ways. A lot of viewers thought that at the time it was just the plot to stop Finn and Rachel from getting married, but still, it didn't make any sense at all. Next up is the controversial relationship between Ezra and Arya in Pretty Little Liars. A lot of people grab their popcorn every Monday and wait for Pretty Little Liars on on ABC Family. The teen thriller shows the adventures of 4 suburban high school students who try to desperately solve the murder of their friend Allison. The students receive mysterious texts from a violent and malicious person who seems to be stalking the girls and knows their every move. Despite the show's shortcomings, such as the cast's mediocre acting skills, the show was quite interesting because it also showed the romantic entanglements that have inspired and filled numerous message boards. However, what got people's attention was Arya's romance with her attractive English teacher, Mr. Ezra Fitz. The relationship was the embodiment of every high school student's awkward fantasies with their young, good-looking, and charismatic professors. It normalized teacher and student relationships, which is just gross. A teacher should never date a student, regardless of how attracted they are to one another, especially when the student is underage. Why would you promote statutory rape and make people think that it's okay because they are in love? It was just wrong on so many levels. How about Michael coming back to life in Jane the Virgin? The majority of TV shows are not realistic, and sometimes we give them room for the unbelievable, but there are times when storylines are just so plain absurd that they just make no sense. Jane the Virgin is one such show. Season 4 ended with a twist that seemed as if it was taken straight out of Hispanic telenovelas. At the end of the episode, Rafael confessed that he lied about Sin Rostro, divulging any details about his birth parents. Rafael then stepped back to reveal Jane's dead husband, Michael. Now, how did that happen? Were they giving out resurrection pills freely? They brought Michael back from the dead as Jason, an amnesiac who was as interesting as a rock and didn't have any of the characteristics which people loved about Michael. Fans believed that the show purposely resurrected Michael to force Jane to pick Rafael. Fans had already accepted Michael's death and were over the loss. They also had warmed up to the idea of Rafael and Jane being together, so there was no point in bringing back Michael at all. It was annoying and, frankly, unnecessary. And who wasn't disappointed by the ending of How I Met Your Mother? How I Met Your Mother, or HIMYM, was arguably one of the most popular American sitcoms. The series started in 2005 and ended in 2014. It followed the life of Ted Mosby and his friends in Manhattan. Ted, in 2030, describes to his children the events in 2006 that led to him meeting their mother, hence the title. The show initially received glowing reviews upon its release, but the reception became mixed as the series continued. The show earned 30 Emmy Awards nominations and won 10. Allison Hannigan, one of the stars of the show, even won the People's Choice Award for favorite TV comedy actress. To say that the show finished with a splutter is people being kind. After years of controversy and buildup, fans were just let down by the season finale. The last few minutes completely ruined the years of interesting characters and complicated storylines. Barney and Robin got divorced after their slow and intense love story, with their wedding being the main focus of the last season. The mother, being a random new character, got killed after years of buildup, and Ted ended up with Robin. Need we say more? And to top it all off, let's talk about Michael's abrupt decision to move to Colorado with Holly in The Office. The Office was an American mockumentary sitcom that depicted the daily lives of office employees of a fictional company in Pennsylvania. The show ran from 2005 until 2013 and was an adaptation of the BBC series of the same name. Steve Carell played the role of the regional manager Michael Scott in the show's 7 seasons. However, he had to leave the show, so they had to write his character off. It was very out of character for Michael to suddenly decide to leave and move to Colorado with his girlfriend, Holly, although it was later explained that Michael's move was due to his desire to help Holly care for her elderly parents. Michael's departure from the series had a very big effect as ratings went downhill from there and people were no longer interested in watching. They also brought in Will Ferrell as the new boss. However, it seemed that fans were not willing to give him a chance and they didn't see him as someone who could fill Carell's shoes. Well, there you have it. Storylines from shows that did not seem to make any sense. No matter how much we love our sitcoms and series, they can't be perfect, but one thing's for sure. We can always watch them again and cringe at all the moments that guaranteed them a spot on this list.